Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and today we are talking about some new cards in the Magic and Misadventures. As we can see, they are here. This looks like some of Kennen's work here, just based off the kind of art and the fact they're in Bundle C. So let's take a look. So we have Gust Monk, a 2-mana 2/2. When I'm summoned, create a Cloud Stance in hand, and a Cloud Stance is a 1-mana burst speed spell. Give an ally +2 attack and round end recall me this round. Okay, so a 2-mana 2/2 that creates this in hand. Give an ally +2 attack and round end recall me this round. Remember when Dancing Droplet got nerfed? And I know that some people have been kind of, pushing the idea that maybe, give Dancing Droplet a tune back. I kind of wonder if they kind of haven't done that because they knew that this was all coming out. Because straight away you can kind of see, like, Dancing Droplet had a tune as well. That might be a bit much with all of this. If we're going to get a lot of recall synergy here, that might all be a bit much. So it looks like we are going to get recall synergy, which is quite cool. Let's see what else goes on. Tornado Warrior, 2-mana 2/2 as well. Good to see, like, Bundle City cards not having insane stats. That's nice to see. When I'm summoned, grant me 1 attack and a random keyword. I keep these stat buffs and keywords when I'm recalled. Okay, super cool card. Because, of course, you'll recall this and then you'll play it again. And, well, I just said about things not having big stats. I guess this could have very big stats, right? So it is a 3/2 with a random keyword. But then, obviously, the more you recall it and you keep playing it, it just gets an extra keyword and an extra attack each time. Now, that's quite cool. I'm not sure if that doesn't apply to them all. It's just the one that you have, which does make this worse. If it was on all of them, then this would be like kind of really maybe dangerous. So it's not on all of them. I think it is just on the one that you have here. But still a very interesting card to work around. And if we go on to the others, this is all the cards today, only 6 cards. We have Quicken, which is a 2-mana fast speed spell. All Bundle City cards today. Recall a unit with 3 or less power. So that's obviously both sides. That's quite a powerful card, I guess. All of those asking for, better control tools. This is a pretty good control tool. Against like fast aggro decks, this is quite good. To force them to recall. The only problem is though that like a lot of the good cards now come with like good summon effects. So like, imagine you recall Bundle City Mare, but you can't really recall Bundle City Mare because then they get an extra card from it. So, there's certain things that this won't be good against, but I'm sure there will be certain things that this is pretty good against that will help you quite a lot and slow down your opponent a lot. You think about like a Bandle Burn deck playing Ziggs on turn 3 and you play this to recall their Ziggs. That's quite a big tempo loss for them, particularly if they're attacking on turn 3 as well. They might have needed that attack, to start killing you. So things like that could be pretty good for this card. I think this will be a pretty competitive card. And definitely will go in these kind of decks, 100%, I would have thought. Pretty cool card. And Thunder Fist is a 3-mana 2/3 with impact. When I'm summoned, if you've summoned a Thunder Fist... God, that's not easy to say. Summoned a Thunder Fist this game, transform it into Massive Crushing Thunder, which is this, a 3-mana 5/4 with impact. So, we've seen these kind of effects with like Chariot Sumpworker, right? Where, there are like you summon multiple of me and then you get this. And maybe we'll start to get to a point. I don't know, is there any copying effects in Bundle City? The top of my head, I can't think of any, but there might be. But of course, when you're using it with things like, Shadow Isles with Fading Memories or Iterative Improvement with P and Z, there are some options here for Thunder Fist and Massa. You cannot, of course, main deck because that would be quite strong. And I think we understand that now the impact keyword is, a pretty decent keyword. This seems, these effects have never really been great. And this, to be honest, looks worse than Chariot Sumpworker. I don't think that this is going to make the cut unless they start printing a bunch of Bundle City cards that allow you to copy this and reliably get multiple of them. But I guess the idea here is that you don't have to have 2 on the board at the same time. You just have to recall and play it again to get this. I honestly don't think still that that's really worth it. Although Retreat Return, could work pretty well with it. I still don't think that this is a big enough effect to really be worth it. But, could be an interesting thing to play around with and try out. So let's come back and give a quick rating to all of these cards then. We have Gust Monk, which I'm going to say is a 2-mana 2/2 that gives you a card that you will probably want in this deck. So it's like a 7 out of 10. You know, it'll probably get played, I think, in the deck, the sort of synergy deck version of it, of this, but maybe, you know, won't be good enough to, it's not like a lecturing yodel where it's good enough to see play in, like, you know, multiple decks that, you know, in every deck. That's where I'd put Gust Monk, like a solid option. You know, kind of this kind of similar to like the darkness card that, you know, creates a darkness for you. I'd put it on the same level as that, where, you know, in the deck you'll play it. Cloud Stance, would you main deck this itself? Maybe. Very, very much maybe. I could definitely see it. This one's probably going to depend on how good the champions are and how, like, much, you know, how hard are they to level up, things like that. You know, do you need to recall a ton to get, you know, them leveled up? If so, then maybe you'll play Cloud Stance. If not, then, you know, maybe it'll be a 1 or 2 of, this is like, you know, your 6.5 out of 10, your 6 out of 10, something like that. It's fine. But, you know, I'd rather play Gust Monk rather than main deck this itself. Tornado Warrior, interesting card. I think the fact that it's a random keyword, you know, sometimes you'll just get regeneration on a 3/2. That's not great. Interesting card to, like, build around, I guess, but I think this is probably like a 4 or maybe a 5 out of 10. I just think it needs too much setup to kind of go. If it was on all of them everywhere, then it would be a lot better, but because it's only the one, it just requires a lot of setup, and, like, you might have to commit as well to recalling it, and your opponent can then just remove it. So not ideal, but it's okay. It's like a 5, I guess. It's not terrible. Quicken, I think, is probably the best card here, like the most flexible card that I could see making it into a lot of different decks. I'd probably call Quicken like a good like 7.5. Like, it's on the borderline of how many decks we'll see play in. I'd kind of put this at the same. I don't know though. This could be pretty good, but it's only 3 power or less, and that's kind of thing. Like, Will of Ionia back in the day was good because you could target things that, you know, had, like, you know, you could just target Tryndamere and you know, ruin the game for your opponent. Whereas Quicken, really, it's kind of like Notify. I'd put this card in the exact same level, and it kind of does act almost in the exact same level as Notify. You know, Notify to deny, Quicken is Notify to Will of Ionia. That's exactly what it is, right? And people play Notify in certain decks, and I think you will definitely play Quicken in, you know, the synergy deck. 100% you'll play Quicken in that deck. It's just whether you'll play it everywhere, and I think the answer is maybe you could slot it in 1 or 2, like a Notify gets slotted in as a 1 or 2 in some decks. Thunder Fist and Mesa Crashing Thunder, I think, is too much setup for not enough payoff, so I'm probably going to give this like a 4 out of 10. I don't really see the impact that this card will make, and those are my reviews, I should say, for today. So we'll of course be back tomorrow. I am streaming right now. Some people are watching me do this live, so you can come and join as well anytime that you wish. And with that said, have a really nice day, and thanks for watching.